So you can, yeah, you can look at all of the US case data for, you know, all time, by the day, by the week. And yeah, so that was that. I was very starkly confronted with my ability to manipulate large amounts of data very quickly. I don't have the tools yet to do so because my computer is like, I can't, dude, I just can't. So yeah, that's.
Alrighty, everybody give Jack and Eric a round of applause. Does anybody have any questions for them?
Oh, and you can link to the CDC right here if you like.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Jack, do you mind if we look at your top 10 cities? How's that being populated?
So the data was it's like some of the countries just had one, like if you look at, like, here's my API, like some of the countries have like just one total like hash of information or object of information, sorry. And then if like all of the United States stuff is done in like by city. So how I was doing this, which was not the way I should have been doing it, was I was in the front end mapping or going over them and then like collecting all of, like summing all of the data or all of the confirmed cases for each of the US cities and then like spitting that out. So I was like summing a bunch of stuff. That's how I did it.
Got it. Very nice, man. Thank you.
Alrighty. Everybody give a second round of applause for that one. Sweet. Next up, we have Victor Amigo. Everybody give it up for Victor. Woo.
Can you give me just 1 second, please?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just running my server now. And wait, what? And there we go. Sorry about that. So now the program that I did was a program showcasing the 7 wonders of the world. So you can just go to one of the options here and it will give you the name, where it's located, when it was built.
I think we might not be looking at the right thing, Victor. What we see right now is your Slack.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Here. So it's, can you see it now?
Yep, looks great.
Okay, so it's basically a program that allows you to go through the 7 wonders of the world, and it will give you some pictures as well as the map. It will also render the name, where it's located, where it was built, as well as a little description of it. And then it also shows a map where the actual wonder is located. And finally, you go back to home, and then you could vote for your favorite ones. And yeah, that's basically it.
Everybody give it up for Victor.
You.
Does anybody have any questions for him?
Was there an API for that, or did you seed that all yourself?
Yeah, I seeded it all myself. It's just, that's why I chose the 7 wonders, right? It's just 7 seeds. So.
Nice work. Alrighty. Next up, we have Kyle Tran. Everybody give it up for Kyle.
All right, can you guys see that okay? Thumbs up, cool. So I made like a text-based adventure game called Spacey Boys. So this is kind of the map of the sector you start in. From here, you can start a new game or you can go see high scores. So we'll go ahead and start a new game. Everybody, hope you're sitting down. Just do a little blast off here. So that brings us to our character creation screen. Let's go, we'll be John Higger. And then from here, you can pick a class, and you'll see over here it changes as you change what you're picking. So it'll give you a description of what this class does, and then it lets you know what items your person's going to be starting with. So I saw John get excited over the muscle, so we'll pick that one. From here, you can start the game. So ideally, I was going to have multiple episodes. I only got around to making one, so that just kind of loads and lets you know what you're doing. And then this is kind of the game HUD here. So you have your profile, so you can see your name, your class. Eventually, you'll have the opportunity to level up. And then you've got this section here. It's basically keeping track of your health or the damage you're actually taking. You can see your inventory over there. And then here's the prompts. I had a lot of ambition of getting a lot more options, but unfortunately, just doing this one path takes like 20 different prompts in total. So it's a lot more than I was kind of anticipating. So we'll go down to the engine room. From here, you get a few more options. Most of these are very basic. They just bring you to another option besides this one here. So any of the options within the game that are an attack option, it actually runs through a bunch of code that rolls a dice, and then your next prompt coming up is going to be different depending on how the dice lands. So we'll click that one. You can see we didn't do too well. You actually got some damage over here. And now you have the option to try and go to the medical bay, or you can bring yourself. So we'll try to bring ourselves. Your little guy passes out, and this is kind of pretty much the end of the episode. They just want you to head to the crew lounge to do a little debrief. Does another little text here for the end, and then you'll click finish there. This will bring us back to the main menu eventually, and then you can come in here and you can see your high scores. So your name will populate on there, and that's about it. I did the front end with React and Redux, and I did the back end in Go. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Kyle?
So how did you come up with like the story content? Is that like all that you did? Did you use data from somewhere else or what?
The classes and stuff are from like a role-playing game, but this story is like a shorter rendition of something me and my friends played. So all the characters you kind of met are one of my friends from real life.
What took like the longest, or what was the part most challenging?
The longest thing was probably writing out the one prompt that had some like conditional responses. So like when you click it and it rolls the dice, and then depending on if it's a 6 or a 5 and 4, it renders back different text and different options for the next screen. That one button right there is probably like 30 to 40 lines of code as far as what happens with it. Just because there's like story text in there and setting the different option like values and stuff after that.
All righty. Next up, we have Kelsey Oshiro and Bradley Calkins. Everybody give it up for them.
All right, guys. So Kelsey and I worked on a mushroom game, essentially. That we got that we generated from seeds we manually seeded, and then we built a custom controller with a Ruby called sample to generate 3 random mushrooms from our seeds. So you're it's basically you're imagining yourself in a forest, and there's 3 different possibilities or effects from the mushrooms. Blast off, fuck that's delicious, or die. So if you were to randomly select you get a different outcome. So that is going to be a psychedelic. This will be something you could eat, Hen of the Woods, and we have the scientific name. And then here's a deadly one. And then you can play again by just simply refreshing with the play again button. And that's pretty much it.
Alrighty, everybody give it up for Kelsey and Brad. Does anybody have any questions for them? Okie dokie. Well, next up we have Jen. Everybody give it up for Jen. I think you might need to stop your screen share.
There we go. Okay. So I, like many of you all, over the past few months, I've been spending a lot more time shopping online than I normally would. And I've also been lucky enough to also spend a little bit more time outside than I typically do. So that's what kind of inspired my idea behind the Adventure Station. I wanted to create an online store, but also pair that with my passion for getting outside. So from our homepage here, we can go and view upcoming adventures. And we have cards displaying the name of the adventure as well as the price. And then if I click on the card, brought to a details page, which has more information about the trip, upcoming dates, and I can add it to my cart. Let's keep shopping. So let's see, I really like wildlife, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add this one directly to my cart. Now, if I go to my cart, I can choose the date for each of the adventures I want to go on, and I can adjust the number of participants. And then this page will automatically update with the subtotal, tax, and total. And then if I wanted to remove one of the adventures, I can do so here. And then from this page, I can go and check out with PayPal, or I can go ahead and clear my cart. The cart does recognize when it is empty. And then if I add something to my cart, the little button here does render that it is in the cart. And then I did want to add a page. So in the event that someone was linked to my site, but the URL was incorrect, you'll get brought here, which will let you know that the requested URL was not found. And then from here, we can go back to our homepage. Here you go, it's my site, thanks.
Everybody give it up for Jen. Does anybody have any questions for her?
Might be blowing up. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just curious how you did like the pop-ups.
So the main one, that's a modal. I use Bootstrap.
And I was gonna say might be blowing up your spot, but is that PayPal legit?
So it does go to a PayPal developer sandbox. So it does process fake transactions.
How long did it take you to find where you were going to insert the mouse tie-in?
Not too long. I'm glad I worked it in.
All righty, everybody give it up for Jen. Next up, we have Paige and Tiffany. Everybody give it up for Paige and Tiffany.
Sorry, one moment. I got distracted by Jen's awesome presentation. So Paige and I made a Pokedex, and all of the cards are color-coded according to their Pokemon type. And if computer will work, it also flips. You can click on the name and see its description. And you can click on this Pokeball to go back. Should probably let it load. And you can filter by type. And reset the page. And you can filter by name as well. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a project.
Nice work. Does anybody have any questions for Tiffany or Paige?
How'd you get the color coding?
So Paige and I named each div its type by string interpolating for each. And then in our CSS, we just like called on that class, like grass, and then gave that a color and so on.
What'd you use to get the card flip animation?
Paige, do you want to take that? She did an awesome job.
I can't unmute myself. I literally copied Kyle's CSS card flip video. I highly recommend it.
Alrighty. Everybody give it up for Paige and Tiffany. Next up, we have Sanjeev. Everybody give it up for Sanjeev.
Namas. Namas. Namas.
Oh, Tiffany, your hummus alert is going on.
Can you see my screen?
We can see it.
So this is my app. Like the name of the app suggests, it's a doggy scanner. It scans your dogs and gives you the breed of a dog. So I spent like a lot of time on Node, like for like 2 days, and on Wednesday I decided to go back to Rails, and so it consumed a lot of my time. So I have this. So everything was working fine until like an hour ago. The sign-up feature, sign-in feature was working just fine. Then something broke up, but my app is working just fine. So to get it started, you need to click this. So this should take you to this portal where you can load the model. So it takes some time to load the model. So and you have two choices. You can either upload the image of the dog you want to identify, or you can capture the image. So I'm gonna start with the upload image. So as you can see, so this is a golden retriever, and this button changes to identify. If I click this, this gives me the name of this dog, breed of this dog. I can reset it and go back if I wanna identify the breed of more dogs. So this is the German Shepherd puppy, and this gives me the name here, and I can reset it. I can also use a webcam to capture the image of the dog. So I can use this feature here. So right now I don't have any dog in my room, but I can use this Google, and I'm gonna capture this photo. And as you can see, this gives me the name, the Siberian Husky. And I can reset it. And if I want to close this, I can simply close it and it will change into blue. So on a color scheme, so the video that Sydney shared like a few weeks ago, that was really helpful. So I played in 3 colors. So you can see the eye of the Husky is blue. So I put, I use like, blue color for all the buttons here. And since the fur of the husky is white and red. I use red for the background, and next one is white. So this is pretty much my app.
Everybody give it up for Sanjeev. Does anybody have any questions?
What do you use to identify the dogs?
So I use a TensorFlow, so it can identify like 120 dogs. So what it does is like, once you upload the image, it sends that image to its backend, and it kind of, tries to, match the characteristics of the dog they have in their database, and it gives you the name of the breed. So this morning I noticed that it also identifies like anything, cat or mobile phone, bottle, everything. So that model, the TensorFlow model has a lot of database about everything in their backend.
Did you use TensorFlow JS or ML5?
I think I use JS.
TensorFlow? Yeah. Okay. I was about to say, because that was identifying really well. That was cool.
Awesome. Everybody give it up for Sanjeev. Next up, we have Brian Oilo. Give it up for Brian Oilo.
All right. You see the right screen? Okay. So mine, I wanted to do something where I could see financial information on, try and get some sort of real-time info popping up. So I created my site, Fat Stocks. And you can, just our landing page right here, you can log in as a user, create a new user. I've already got an account, obviously. Log in. And so this takes me to my landing page with my personal stock pulled up. This is just Western Midstream, a stock that I've been looking at. So it populates there. This is their current pricing, and obviously the market's closed now, so it's only got the closed pricing. It's got some news stories about them. We can pull up some more news stories looking at that, and these are all working links that go to these articles. And then it's got here, it shows about the first 12 or the last 12 days and whether it finished up, down, what the pricing was. We can get the last 30 if you want by looking at that. This graph will show the last 30 of this particular stock. Let's see, why don't we go look and see what Amazon's been doing lately. So we can switch, and it just switches over to Amazon, no refreshing. Just goes like that, and we can look at Amazon and see all of this, see their price points, see some news. And let's put in some random stock that doesn't exist. Oh man, I fucked up. That stock does not exist. So that is welcome to Fat Stocks.
Everybody give it up for Brian.
Hey Brian, I'm just curious on how you're pulling in the recent info and the latest live stock price.
So there is an API called IEX Cloud that has multiple tiers, and for a free account you can get up to like 50,000 polls. I'm on my third free account since I started building this, because every single one of these is polling 30 days per. It's I burned through a few fake accounts on this site. It's only $9 to get the full package when you can get up to 1 million polls, but I just kept making new Gmail accounts. So.
Got it. Thank you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Was the latest news included on that too, or did you pull that separately?
It's an endpoint that, like, this IEX API has, I would say, probably 30 or 40 different endpoints, and one of them is news about the company. Like, the company information, like this logo, all comes from it has its own endpoint and stuff like that to pull in that. There is one where I could have had a company description, but I cluttered up the page too much. And then the graphing data is just individual stock polls for the day. It's basically just this data that I then put into a graph.
What did you use for the graphs?
It's called, was it React Charts JS? Something like that. or React Charts JS2. It's got a number in there somewhere.
Alrighty, everybody give it up for Brian. Next up, we have Katie Bittner and Rodney Smith. Give it up for Katie Bittner and Rodney Smith.
Let me see. All right, so what we did is we made a web app, and basically we're going to throw a party for all the people at Flatiron. And this time you guys are lucky because everything's going to be on us. And basically what we did was we created a couple cards so that you could add whatever alcohol you choose for us to bring. And we have some drop-down menus for like wine and the vodka and stuff, just so you can be specific. And if I don't know who Becky is, it's just Becky's not a beer though. Hold on a second. And we can add this in here. And then after we add it in here, it just brings us down here. You can see the Bud Light was added by Becky. And we put in people's name in case y'all requesting too much, and we can call y'all out and tell y'all that, you know, I mean, you're doing too much. But yeah, that's basically it.
Does anybody have any questions? Alrighty, everybody give it up for Rodney and Katie. Next up, we have Brian Gordon.
Okay. Give me a second. Sorry, Zoom controls. Okay, so I made a fake Slack called Hang Loose. The entire purpose of this was to actually get used to building custom routes. So I used Node Express, Connects, and Postgres backend, and I also did it test driven. So doing all that, the front end doesn't actually work all that well. However, there is some seeded data that I did put in here manually. So you have the login page, register page. So I'll come to the login page. You got Leo. Can log in. This first bring you to the general chat where you can be the first to leave the message. Up here, it stores who the user is, where you can log out. These are the different channels that you could actually go to, or groups. So in here, then we can actually do what I do and spend a lot of time just talking to yourself, because that's all I do these days. And then when it posts with the username and the time, and that is really about it. And I can log out.
Everybody give it up for Brian. Does anybody have any questions?
You had the text bar on the bottom, right? I think Zoom might have been cutting off the, I don't know if there's anything else of note down there that I might have missed with the full screen.
No, yeah, the text bar is at the bottom, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me show
I was
you.
like, how is he typing this? This is amazing.
Magic. Sorry, can you see it? Barely down here.
Yeah, if you let the Zoom stuff like fade away.
Yeah, you gotta let the bottom go away. TJ, stop touching and it'll go away.
I'm not touching it. I'm gonna take your word for it.
I mean, no shade, but it is just an input field, so like you're not missing that much.
You're not missing too much. How is writing with Tess, and are you gonna write everything with Tess from here on out?
I think so. To be honest with you, it really wasn't that bad. Very tedious, but you can definitely see where it took getting one route. It was like a 4-hour process through commit history. It got down to, by the last resource that I actually did, down to an hour process. So, but it really, using Jest, very, very simple, very readable. It is not completely thorough, like it doesn't test for errors very well, but it was just red green refactor the whole way. So it was definitely worthwhile. I think I'm gonna keep going at it. It was fun but tedious.
Awesome. Alrighty, everybody, give it up for Brian. Next up, we will have Elliot. Everybody, give it up for Elliot.
Hey guys, I also did a COVID app. I did a little bit different. I did kind of like connecting travel information to it. So we can go into here. And first you can look up really any address, place. You can do like Lost Lake, and it brings up coordinates for kind of like the first 5 results. And most things seem to work, but you can also do like worldwide, and then you can take these coordinates and plug them into here and see like the current active cases in that area. So that's like the current COVID count in Tokyo, Japan, it looks like. And then coming down here, I plotted this map with pretty much every country from the API. And if it's red, that means that it's like completely closed. Like Morocco here is closed and no one's able to enter. But then if it's blue, it has some sort of availability to travel into, like the United States. And it tells you like how long you have to quarantine for and all that kind of good stuff. I also made some cards right here, which kind of give the same information from the map, but you can toggle down and see like all the exceptions, and some of them have like notes and requirements. And you can also save cards right up here if you think you want to travel to them and stuff like that. And then you can search by either country name or else by like their status. Like this would show you all the open countries in the world, and kind of on that list would be your options to travel to like that. And then finally I have a table, which kind of just starting from the beginning of the pandemic, it goes all the way back. I just picked a couple breakpoints and highlighted information of kind of to see like the current US count of positivity rate and hospitalizations, and then deaths finally, and just like if it's getting bad, conditionally render it to a certain color. And that's it.
Everybody give it up for Elliot. Does anybody have any questions?
Were there any limitations with bringing in that much data? Like, did it have load times issues or anything?
No, it's really like not too much probably, considering, I mean, I think like their API probably has like 4,000 lines of JSON I saw, and I just brought that into my backend, so that, you know, is really just a couple of megabytes probably at the most, if that, maybe 1 megabyte. So it's really not doing that much. And then I tapped into a couple other APIs for some of the other sources. So it's like a mixture of a couple APIs.
How did you create the map with the plotting on there?
I tried really hard to use a service called Esri, which is like really popular in the mapping community and has a lot of jobs, but I couldn't layer anything on top of like a base map. So I ended up using React Leaflet, which was a super easy to use package that I really enjoyed. And then I layered like a separate base map on top of that. And then on top of that, like all my API endpoints.
Awesome, everybody give it up for Elliot. Next up, we have Luis.
All right.
So I originally intended to do a weather app, but late afternoon or Wednesday afternoon, I kind of hated it, so I switched it, and then I decided to do like a e-commerce website, and so this API that I found is like about makeup, which is like the only one that I could really find, and so it's pretty much not finished because I only had like a day or two to work on it, and so you can basically click on the add to cart, whatever product you want, and this is my cool little shopping cart, and you can click on it, and this is where I couldn't didn't have time to style, but even if I did, it was gonna be ugly, so didn't bother. And then you can click this and it takes you back home, and you can click on the product and get more information on it, and that's about it.
Everybody give it up for Luis. Does anybody have any questions?
What was what were you running into with weather beyond the fact that all the APIs cost money?
I wasn't really running into any issues. I just didn't really like how it was turning out, like all the styling and how it was all going to be set up. So I didn't even want to work on it sometimes because I was just like, I kind of hated it. So I just switched my idea.
Alrighty. Give it up for Luis one more time. And next up we have Marcos and William.
Okay, so it's been a long project week, so you probably all deserve a movie night. Problem is you don't know what movie to watch. Well, Ann Chill has got you covered. So, Will, what movie would you like to watch? Let's see. We can choose our genre. We can maybe do an action. Maybe in the year.
Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, okay.
Maybe put snow in there.
Something with snow? Cool. Love snow. Okay. Maybe the movie Taxi.
I don't think I
So
like
what
that
else?
one.
Lethal Weapon?
You can't go wrong with Danny Glover, so let's add that to our list that we'll go over later.
Awesome.
Jackie Chan for sure. Add that on there.
Sweet. Filling up an awesome list.
Can we maybe look at some animation movies as well too?
100%. What year?
1992.
Okay. Still like snow?
I don't know. Put in pirate. There's probably some pirates in Dragon Ball. I'm a Dragon Ball stan, so add that. Boom.
Nice. Yeah. All right. You got some recommendations. That's all out.
Alrighty. Does anybody have any questions?
So, like, I'm assuming you got all this stuff from an API. Did you pull everything from an API and then have that stored and then be able to search that? Like, how did you do that?
So there's actually no backend on this app. This all happens on the front end.
Yeah, we pull from API and we have to fetch from a few different endpoints from on the API because like the keyword is one endpoint and then we redirect to the main endpoint with all the movies.
how did you finally get your dynamic search filter to work with that?
Oh, it required a nested fetch and creating some variables inside that fetch that were accessible a little later on in the function to build out the big, huge, customizable URL with all the different inputs.
All righty. Next up, starting off after the break, we have Daniel Madera. Everybody give it up for Daniel Madera.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see here.
Oh, I had to stop the share. You're good now. Sorry about that.
All right, so my app is a Instagram type app that focuses mostly on nature. So we called it Nitrogram. Go ahead and log in here. Need a stronger password. This is going to bring you to the main page of pretty much all the photos that are in the database with my specific account here. So these are all my photos that I've taken. They also render in here as well. You'll notice that some of those photos aren't mine. And you know, Instagram rule, you can't like your own photo. So we'll go ahead and like this one, maybe leave a comment. Always wanted to go. Add that in there. You can go back. And then the other feature I'll show is if we log out, go in as a user, log back in. So bring us to this user page. So these are all their photos. You can then come up here and edit the user account. So to import maybe a new photo. We want to see what this person looks like. Is this the one? No. So we can go ahead and update the user profile. We can also add a new photo for this user. So I found it easier just to add the photo first before putting in the location. So we'll go back here. Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon. Submit, then that will be brought up in the Grand Canyon as well, or in the all images. And that's my app.
Nice work, Daniel. Does anybody have any questions?
What did you do for the picture upload?
There was a input function that you can use. So you basically attach it to a button and it allows you to import photos or pretty much any kind of document from your computer.
So you didn't have to pull in like anything else to do that?
No API.
Okay, cool.
Which actually finding these photos was kind of tedious and I lost steam pretty quick on trying to find nature photos.
Thought I heard another question before.
I was going to ask the same things, Kelsey.
Oh, okay. All righty. Everybody give it up for Daniel one more time. Next up, we have, oh, do I have a name in here twice? I do. I have Brian Gordon in there twice. Brian, you want to present again? Just kidding.
Yeah, for this project.
You did 2 projects this week, right?
Yeah, both not done.
All right. Next we have Johnny, Jazzy Johnny, and music. Everybody give it up for Jazzy Johnny and music.
Hey, Johnny, how's it going? Johnny.
I mean, I could respond to that technically.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I was on mute. Super excited to show everyone our app. My bad, music.
Oh, you're good. Hey, you want to go grab something to eat?
Absolutely. I'm super hungry, but I don't have any plans for this evening. I need some help with coming up with a cuisine. I don't know where to go to eat.
Oh my gosh. Well, lucky thing, we created something called Mystery Eat.
Mystery Eat. So how exactly does Mr. Eat work?
Well, you see, we have a catalog of a ton of restaurants. It comes with their logo, a phone number, rating, price, location. So you can read as you go, or if you're, whew, gosh, too many. Let's go back to the top. So click our top button. Boom, we're back at the top.
Wow, super comprehensive. All right, that's a comprehensive catalog. So what if I want to take my best buddy Ahmed? I have a really good friend. His name is Ahmed, and his birthday his birthday was this past Friday, and I really want to take him to a vegan restaurant. So how do we come up with a short list of vegan restaurants?
Well, you go up to the search on the top right, just type in vegan, and boom, look, here are our vegan options.
Okay, all right. Well, I've actually never heard of any of these. I see that they're all rating of 5. They're all relatively cheap. They have a price of 2 currencies. Why don't you just surprise me? Let's surprise Ahmed. Where do we want to take Ahmed tonight?
Okay, so if you're feeling spontaneous, this will only choose from our current vegan options. So click on our Mystery Eat button right there, and here, it chose beatbox for you.
Awesome. Let's do it. But you know what? Ahmed's kind of like high standard. Why don't we take him out to dessert as well? Do you have any dessert options?
Of course, dessert's a very important part of the meal. Here we have 8 dessert options, it looks like.
Okay. All right. What do we have? We have Little Man, Low High, we have Deep Bar, Sweet Cow. I love their Captain Crunch ice cream. Why don't we go with Frozen Matter? I know they do have a vegan option, and for those who don't know, they do have a speakeasy where you give a secret knock and they admit you. Let's go with Frozen Matter. I think that's an excellent nightcap for my buddy Ahmed's birthday.
Well, there you have it.
That's our app, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
All righty. Does anybody have any questions?
How long did it take you to come up with that name?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question. That's probably one of my favorite parts of this project, where just kind of that kicking ideas back and forth. We had some pretty dull names, but just asking the right questions and that creativity, that ideation process, we were able to come up with that Mr. Eat in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, then we created a logo for it, and when you click on this logo, it brings you back to our homepage here for the full catalog.
All righty, everybody give him a hand. Next up, we have Matthew Malecki. Everybody give it up for Matthew.
Hey everyone, let me just get ready here. Sorry. All right. Mine, I don't have much to show you. So I thought I would explain what I learned and what lessons learned, and hopefully no one finds themselves in my position. But I decided to do, ironically enough, I decided to do a weather app too. And that was my original idea. One of the as Ben had pointed out, the pricing, it's expensive. There's like, the one I found was this weather stack or whatever. It's anyway, the forecast, which I was planning on using on professional plan and higher, a professional plan is $50. So anyway, but anyway, so I'll just explain the lessons learned. My first issue was the ideas. Had a very hard time this time coming up with an idea, and some of the things that that would have helped me. There's actually web pages I didn't realize that had ideas for student web development students, software development students, which would have been helpful. And then also, we have all these recorded, so look back in the archives, see if you can get some inspiration from them. And then the other approach that I was using this time that was pretty bad was I thought I had a good API until later. It was bad planning, but I originally, when I was trying to figure out an idea, I was looking for APIs and figured I'd built the app around it. And that's really not a good one either. The major mistake I did in this that I learned from was Project Week. Yeah, there's a balance between learning new technologies and in using things that you really know. I definitely overreached. I was trying to do mine in Node.js Express, and it was a little bit more than I can chew. I also wanted to incorporate auth into it too. Again, this is a lesson I learned, and I'd like to pass it on to Only Spans. During Mod 3, the last week is auth, and I glossed over it, and it's kind of it's a little hard to learn, and I glossed over it way too much, and I tried to learn it all this week. And that kind of added to my problems too. I did try, after panicking last night, I decided, well, instead of going back, I'd go back to Rails, something I knew a little bit better than Node, and maybe take my project from Mod 3 and try to do it better. But after having no sleep last night, I'm not thinking very well today, so it was a total bust. So anyway, I apologize. I don't have much to show you, but I hope my lessons that I learned the hard way, hopefully I pass them on to you, and hopefully I save someone else from this kind of humbling experience. So anyway, sorry. Thank you. Thanks.
Matt, what kind of tech stuff did you learn?
Well, let's see. The big thing is with you get Ruby really Rails really spoils you with all that it does. Node definitely is. You got to bring everything to that, let's see. Was that I'm sorry, I'm going out with no sleep. Is that what was exactly your question, Ben?
Just any new tech stuff that you picked up over the course of the process.
Oh, okay. Because I never really learned auth before, learning auth and protecting routes was new to me. Something I will definitely use on my capstone. Let's see. So bcrypt for encoding, or bcrypt. It's not encoding. It's something else. Hashing. And thanks. And let's see what else. And I mean, just getting into Node. Even though I don't have much to show, I did really learn a lot. And I talked with Ahmed today, and he really brought me up because he made me like really think of what I did learn, and I did learn a lot. It wasn't a total bust. But I do like having the full stack JavaScript. So I mean, I definitely want to do Node.js and Express for my capstone.
All righty, everybody give it up for Matt.
Thanks, everyone.
And next up we have Terrell.
Okay, so let me try and share this. Okay, so I also, can you guys see it okay? Everything working? Cool. So I created basically a messenger app. So basically you sign in, it uses Google's auth, so I don't know if you can see that pop up. And yeah, you can go ahead and chat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this link in the chat, and if you guys wanna hop in there, just kind of like Zoom chat, try it out, see if it works, see if we can break it, I guess. But this is pretty much all my project is just logging in and kind of rendering all of, oh, nice, cool. So yeah, I mean, you can just type in what you want. And it kind of scrolls down to the bottom and keeps like a kind of tracking for you too, so you're not constantly going through. So yeah, that's my app. I used React for the front end and I used Firebase for the back end. So that was kind of new for me. I never really messed with Firebase before, so I had to go and learn. Like, you can kind of see all your guys' documents coming into the Firebase or Firestore. Is pretty simple to use. It just took a little second to like kind of understand how everything's working, but yeah, that's pretty much my app.
Everybody give it up for Terrell. Does anybody have any questions?
Also, Jay, it's not sockets, sadly enough. It's just with Firestore, you're using a real-time database. So yeah, it's not necessarily sockets.
That's even
There's
cooler.
a cheap way to do it? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I can't believe that wasn't sockets. That's awesome.
Oh, this might save me a lot of time on capstones. Thank you.
Yeah, Firestore is super sick. Check it out.
I know Kyle mentioned it in like one of his instructions, but how was the process of using Google Auth? What was that like? Headache? Easy?
It was honestly like super easy. I got my auth set up with, I want to say like 4 lines of code. And that's pretty, like, I'm telling you, like, this whole Firebase stuff, like everything that you can do in it is actually really, really cool. So you can use like Facebook login, you can just enable a bunch of different ones, and then you just have to like create the provider for it. So it's pretty simple.
That's awesome, man. Love the color scheme too.
Thank you. Also, I found a really cool website for just like color palettes. So I literally just went in there and it gave me a whole bunch of different color palettes. So I just kind of took one of those and ran with it.
It's not that Cooler site, is it? That's what I've been using lately.
Cooler.io or something like that.
Yeah,
no,
that's like, I use that for everything now. Yeah, it's awesome.
Super cool.
I was clapping and I said awesome, but my microphone was muted. All right. Next up we have Shelly. Everybody give it up for Shelly.
All right. Share. So I just launched it and I realized there's something going on with my API fetch and it's not working. So that is a huge bummer. So I will show you what is working right now. So I made an app for getting hiking and mountain bike trails and eventually camping. I didn't get to that part near you. So it is based on your address. So if I typed in, you could search from anywhere. And then it would save it here. If you wanted to end up changing that, you can remove it and edit it. Or you can go over here and log in. So I'll log in. So I have the auth set up on it. And yeah, this is the part that's not going to work. So if I go to biking, this usually renders with a bunch of awesome cards for all these different trails that are.
Shelly, I think there might be an error with the screen share where it's frozen. I wasn't sure if that was only happening to me or if it was happening to other people. Do you maybe want to try unsharing and sharing again on Zoom?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I mean, there's not much else. Let's see. Can you see it now?
Yes, now I think things are moving.
I dragged it from one screen to the other, so maybe that screwed it up. So did you see any of it?
We saw the loading screen in the beginning.
Yeah, just go back to the beginning, start it fresh.
Well, I got to, okay, so yeah, so you can search from, you can set like your address here if you don't want to log in, if you just want to be like a guest user. And then you can reset it if you want to, you know, pick your activity. I didn't have the campaign set up, but I have an API for the hiking and the biking. Or you can go over here and log in. So now, yeah, the auth is set up, it knows who I am, and then there's other icons popped up. So I removed the login button, and this is, you know, your past adventures, ones you've already done. And this is your bucket list and your favorites. And again, these are like not rendering right now. And then this is where the fetch goes for all the mountain bike trails and then all the hiking trails. So I had a search filter set up, and then you'd click on one and it would show you all the details about that specific hike too. But yeah, I'm getting like a course error, so I don't know what's happening. It was working. And then yeah, log out.
Awesome job.
Not much to show for it right now.
So do you have any questions?
The side nav bar, was it easier or did you struggle on it a little bit?
You know, it was okay because it's just static, so it's just like, you know, fixed on the side there, and then these are just links. So, yeah, I had ambitions to do something more dynamic, but.
All righty, everybody give it up for Shelly. Next up, we have Kelsey.
All right. So, can you guys see that? Okay, cool. So for my project, I worked on an app to help job seekers kind of just take a more organized approach. Let me get logged in. All right, so on your profile, it takes you right there, and it's pretty much kind of like a handy place to keep like links to your LinkedIn and your resume, just to have those handy since you're pulling those out so much for job applications, as well as your references. So you can keep track of all of their contact information and add new references. And then if you don't have a LinkedIn or a resume uploaded, there's a nice little form there for you to put it in, or just the link will show up if you have one. And then there's a place to keep track of all your applications. I know whenever I'm applying to jobs, just kind of doing it like crazy and not keeping great track of them. So it keeps a list of all of them with like the important info along with the status of the application. And then if you want to add a new one, you can do so. I'll just do one real quick. And then that should show up at the bottom. And if you don't want it anymore, you can just delete it from the database. And yeah, that's mostly what I got to. I had some pretty big ambitions with this one. And in the back end, I have interviews that are mapped out to all the applications. So those could eventually pull through as well. Yeah, that is pretty much my app.
Some work. Does anybody have any questions? All righty, next up we have Junior and Jason. Everybody gonna give it up for Junior and Jason.
All right, so here's our app. It's called Gym Buddy. So we can log in, hit the rock. And there you go. You're in their profile. You got some workouts you can go through. Here's a program. Goals to eat more rocks. You got some stuff you can go through right here. Definitely no leg stuff though, so we can go ahead and search for some workouts that go through legs. Let's see here. We can look at the barbell calf raises. Click on the video. It'll take you to it. Bit of a description there, but he doesn't seem like a calf guy. So let's go ahead and just add the barbell squats. There it is. So we can go ahead and log out of that. Can create a new user. JL1. Johnny Ocean, probably about 185. We'll make him real active. Let's see, run my own gym. Create user, and here you go. It gets to their profile. Username, no, there's the goal program. You can go ahead and add some more to it if you'd like. And there you go. There's a new program, Workout Buddy.
Does anybody have any questions for Junior or Jason? All righty. Well, next up we have Jay, and then finishing it up after that, TJ. Everybody give it up for Jay.
All right, everybody. So one of the nice things about Flatiron School is that I have started my daily meditation again since I've been joining here, and that's been really nice. But unfortunately, since Bryce left, I haven't really been as accountable. I haven't really meditated as much. Hasn't really been working out too much. It's all about the accountability. So I realized with only 3 weeks left, if I'm ever going to reach spiritual enlightenment before I graduate this class, really need to start working on my meditation a little bit more. So instead of meditating, I built this app. So we can go in here and we can log in and we can do this. And that's totally not because I deleted my own profile. It looks like Steven needs to change his password. So here we can go to meditate, and here we can just click on this. That's going to start a meditation session. So when you're wanting to meditate, you need to know how well you're doing. So you sit down, you press the button, you forget about it, you meditate for a while. When you're finished, just click the button. That's going to pause it. If you messed up, you clicked it too early, you can always reset it. Otherwise, you can press submit, and that's going to send it to the back end, store it for you. Some people might say this looks like something else, but no, it's different because that goes down. This goes up. So yeah, we can also go to profile. I won't bore you with that. We can check out the calendar here. This is going to show you your logged meditation sessions. You can also go to a weekly and a daily level for that and check out so you can see an 8-minute 30 session there. Been doing pretty well this week. Need to keep this up. Missed one on Monday, but I'll do better. And then you can log out, and that's my app.
Great job, great job. Anybody have questions for Jay?
Tell us about that calendar.
That's React Big Calendar. Surprisingly easy to bring in. It's fully responsive. Oh, wait, I did want to show that off real quick. So the calendar, you go here, does this very easily. So it's an awesome component. I definitely recommend it. You can feed it events, you can style it, you can style a SAS. And yeah, you just drop it in. All you need is a height, and then we'll fill, and then you can style it. Super recommend that.
Ooh, Jay, what's it look like when you if you convert it to mobile, like hit the mobile button? Does it respond to that
It
too? Or?
does it all right. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, it does it pretty well.
Oh yeah.
It when you get down to like really small levels, it starts messing up, but it'll take it pretty well, and then it'll do.
Like, what does it do if you like change it from like responsive to like iPhone?
Oh yeah, let's
or something.
iPhone X. Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty skinny. You need to mess with it a little bit, but it's pretty close to being responsive there.
Looks damn good. Thanks for the free research.
Yeah. No problem.
All righty. Give it up for Jay. And last but not least, we have TJ to finish us off. Everybody give it up for TJ. You're muted.
Okay, now I'm not muted. All right, so as some of you know, I used to be a beer brewer, so I decided to dip my toe back into that world. So I'm doing an epic beer road trip, something that my wife and I have done a couple times. So we've got our map of the United States here, and we have like some little sub maps as well, Hawaii, Alaska, New England. So we'll start our trip in Colorado here. Clicking on Colorado, you'll get a list of some Colorado breweries. So let's do New Belgium's always a fun brewery tour to go on. So we clicked on that, and now we can see that we've got our road trip starting to populate here. We've got a point on the map. So I'm gonna drive back to Illinois, back where I'm from, see some family. And I know the guys at Blue Nose. Hey, how's their website doing these days? I hadn't rehearsed this, so hopefully it actually loads. Yeah, cool. So you can check out the brewery's websites by clicking on their name. And let's add them to our road trip as well. And you'll see that we're starting to plot out a bit of a journey here. So say we go down to Louisiana. Never been to Louisiana. We'll go to Flying Heart, add that in as well. A lot of people from Texas here in this cohort. Let's make a stop in Texas. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Jester King. We'll add them in. And you know what? I think I actually want to go to Texas first. All right. So let's drag and drop that over here. Switch these two around. Yeah, that's looking like a pretty good trip now. I'm for that. And yeah, that's my app.
Great work. Does anybody have any questions?
Kind of out of curiosity, could you pick one of the points that are not in the continental U.S.? I'm just curious what it looks like.
Oh,
Get
you want
him.
to see a rep?
Get him.
So if you click Alaska and Hawaii, I actually disabled the pins for Hawaii because they put you, they put you in the ocean. But let's see. Oh man, come on, Magic Mouse, stop that.
Well, you can't
So
drive there.
So I can populate the pins. I disabled the tooltips for them too because they don't show up. And as you can see, you get a crazy line going to, I'm
cool.
assuming it looks right. That's probably where Alaska is-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Hawaii, you can populate the Hawaiian breweries. But yeah, I disabled the pin marks for those. And then same thing with the New England map. It just didn't show up right. I don't know why. I swear I had the tooltips working correctly on this at some point, but I don't know. They just kind of broke. Oh, that's really funny. It actually.
Oh, that's cool. It starts over there though, like from
It's
where the
pretty
map
wild.
piece is.
Yeah, so it's like going to like where it ought to be. Like I'm sure Hawaii's out there somewhere.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of different like React packages with this. So simple maps for the mapping, which is pretty wild. There's tooltips for like this kind of stuff. How like all these things pop up when you hover over them, and then oh, the drag and drop thing. I spent all day yesterday on that. That was pretty wild. That took a while to get to work, but it's a pretty goofy looking map. But yep, that's it.
And the dots are based on location, like accurately?
Yeah, so that's why I only included them for the U.S. For the continuous U.S. map, and not for like Hawaii and Alaska, because they were messing like those. It would plot the markers correctly for Alaska, and for the U.S. it wouldn't plot them correctly for Hawaii. But yeah, it's all longitude latitude data, and
That's
like
rad.
those maps are like just giant JSON files that have everything plotted out. So that part's able to be done accurately.
Very slick.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and that ties up all the presentations for the day. So today is Friday. That means we got feelings coming up, and in the meantime, we got to fill out some surveys. And also, if your place is looking a little messy, I know mine could use some cleaning. It would be Friday tidy time. So feel free to clean up your room. Get that cup that's been sitting at your desk for a week and take it upstairs, wash it, fill it up, bring it down with some nice clean water. Yeah, I think I will just leave this link open and maybe play some music, but stop the recording.